All right, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Lagosians. It's good to be here this morning, the 8th day of January. The year has started. I mean, we've been in January since like 2 weeks now. January is so slow. But it's a beautiful year, the year 2024. And it's on Monday. The roads are busy again. Schools are resumed. Work have resumed for a lot of people. For us in the media, it's been work all through. Welcome to today's U45 a morning show. I am Osage Solomon Wilfred, and I'm not alone.
Alright, a wonderful morning to you all out there. I mean, it's the second week, truthfully, but then it seems as though we had to do January 1st 3 times.
Yeah.
Twice. I mean, it's interesting though. It's interesting. You're welcome to the U45 morning show. Shegun Dilala Adiyemi. It's Monday.
All right. Today is gonna be interesting. We'll be talking through our main segment. We'll be looking at the use of firearm. Should it be legalized? I mean, what are the pros and the cons? And then also we'll be going to the newspaper segment, the hashtags and trends, and also sport. Join us as we take a short break, and we'll be back. Stay with us.
Alright, you're welcome back. It is still U45 morning show, and right about now we are headed straight to our newspaper review. We're starting off today with the Vanguard newspaper, and then the front banner says Naira note scarcity, crunch worsens, banks ration cash across the counter. The rider says, customer frustrated as some banks shut ATMs. POS operators jack up charges, say they are sourcing cash outside banks. Now, that's where the problem lies. I thought initially the central bank said there was no scarcity of cash that was working with. But now, the shocking part is POS operators saying they are sourcing for cash outside the bank. So aside banks, who else ought to have bulk of this cash?
Shego, the situation is really messed up right now. I remember during the Yuletide season, we were calling on the CBN, and they have been coming out to douse the tension. But I thought it was all political. You know, they complain about banks and hoarding cash and all of that. You know, but it's been a week or two over since the Yuletide, and we're still having cash scarcity. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure that there are a lot of factors that could have caused it. And then with what we have experienced over the years, I mean, the government should have been proactive on CBN when it comes to the Yuletide season. We have a lot of Nigerians, Shegun, coming in from diaspora. We have politicians, you know, throwing parties and family members. So there's need for more people to have cash. And I'm sure that's why the hoarding is not far-fetched. But I mean, for now, the circulation should be ongoing already. I was privileged to get some cash over the weekend. And I must tell you that the charges are pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. They jacked up the charges.
Yeah.
Written here. Now, but if during the Yuletide season people got cash, right? I mean, by now, people that came from diaspora, that came for holidays, most of them are returning.
They started going back.
And then the money you've been spending since, let's say, December 25th or 26th, will have gone into circulation by now, right? No matter who's holding it, no matter who has it, it's from hand to hand, it goes into circulation. So why are the POS operators increasing charges? I mean, it's pointless.
Well, one of the guys told me that it's pretty difficult for them, just like the rider says, that it's pretty difficult for them to get cash at this moment. The reasons is what we are not clear about. I think the CBN would have to come out and educate us on what's really happening when it comes to Naira scarcity. And also, if you recall, Shegun, during the Yuletide, from what I read and heard, some of our businessmen, especially our Igbo brothers, stopped taking their cash to the bank. You know, people wanted to avoid the issue of when you really need your cash back and then you're not able to get it. So they started hoarding cash. So it wasn't only the banks that were hoarding cash. Individuals and business owners were also hoarding cash. I think the CBN should come out and educate the public going forward. And when the pressure is, of the Yuletide comes, how do we manage to, cope through that period? And I must commend the Vanguard newspaper for their new paper fonts and the front page, quite colorful. And we said it last year. They said they are going to raise the price of the newspapers, and it's truly, newspapers are now 250 naira.
Yeah, 250 naira. All right. Atop that, NNPCL and Port Harcourt Refinery, the unfolding success story of rehabilitation by Femi Shoneye. So if you want to know more about the Port Harcourt Refinery, just go to page 14 and you'll read more about that. Humanitarian Ministry, Tinubu orders probe into alleged diversion of 585 million naira into private account. The writer says PDP wants immediate sack, prosecution of minister. Now, this wouldn't be the first minister to do this. And even under the PDP administration, Obasanjo, Goodluck Jonathan, all of this happened, and there wasn't any clamor for sack. But why? I think this thing is just political. Because, I mean, why would you say somebody should be sacked when you have not done your investigation? You understand? I think a thorough investigation should be done, and then we'll know if the next step is to sack or just sanction the person, but not sack.
Because as we know, Nigeria and corruption, they are like Siamese twins. And corruption has eaten deep into every fabric of our society. And if we want to get it right going forward, we would have to probe many of these ministries. And kudos to the president, for all of this. I just hope we're able to bring justice, and the culpable people will be brought to book, and not just innocent people. And we shouldn't play politics with it, like you said.
It's a good one. And then moving on, another headline says Unilorin Covenant Versities say no fake professors on payroll. You find that on page 8. Another headline says Supreme Court grants federal government exclusive control of all inland waterways. You find that on page 12. Another headline says EFCC's visit, Dangote explains assures stakeholders. You find that on page 26. Because people want to know what happened. What is EFCC looking for at the Dangote Group headquarters? Now, this headline says NFF to Super Eagles win AFCON and pocket 32 million naira bonus each. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's good money. I just hope it will not be a situation where when the boys does the needful, they will have to go to the streets and carrying placards and asking for their funds. But I mean, it's good motivation for the boys, and I hope they are able to cash in on it and then bring home the trophy. The last time we won it was in 2013.
Okay, so that will be it for from the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, straight to the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent, the main headline says 2024 budget. Experts warn federal government over exaggerated assumptions. And then the writer says, see forex loans boosting forex supply soon. And another story says, Tinubu orders probe over transfer of 585.2 million naira grant into private accounts. The writer says improper payment, diversion of public funds should be punished, according to Serap. Such an interesting one. I think we talked about that story earlier. Another story says rising insecurity. Afenifere urges Tinubu to call for meeting of local leaders, and the writer says a list how to tackle increasing terrorism and banditry. Good one from Afenifere and all traditional groups calling out and condemning the rising of insecurity in Nigeria. I just hope that the government heeds to their calls and their cries. Another story says Dangote clarifies EFCC's visit to office amid FX investigation. That story is on page 29. And NACO rules out upward review of safety threshold rates for airlines. You find that on page 7. Another story says Kogi government to unveil new Ohinoye of Ibiraland amongst 70 aspirants. Shego, if you remember that story, last year the Ohinoye of Ibiraland passed on to glory, and condolences were flying from all centers. So it's good that the state government is trying to unveil a new traditional ruler in Ibiraland, Ohinoye of Ibiraland. 5 die as boat capsizes in River Niger. That story is on page 6. Quite unfortunate, I must say. I mean, this is a period when we're talking about looking at other means of transportation apart from road transportation, so we can ease the pressure on our roads. And unfortunately, it seems like we're not getting it right. Lots, and when it comes to road accidents, I mean, it's pretty, safer compared to the water lines and the waterways, where everybody on board can be gone, except they have their life and safety jackets on. Our condolences to the families. Another story says ASU presidents links fake foreign degrees to underfunding of universities. The writer says slams private universities over indiscriminate award of first-class degrees. I mean, Shegun,
there's no lies in this. I said it all the time. I think it was last week. That look, if you do not fund your federal and state universities, there will be more private universities. Now, and if there are more private universities, how many members of staff do they have in this university commission that they will now have to be monitoring every institution? It's difficult. But if your state-owned and federal government-owned unity schools, if they are well-funded, who wants to go to a federal university? I mean, they're well-funded, the lecturers, they are doing well.
Who wants to go to a private university, you mean? Okay.
You get, because I mean, it is the same quality of education you give my child in this state university or federal university, that's what they're going to get in the
private university.
Yes. So I'd rather save my money and go to a federal university, and then the private university, in no time they'll be out of business and then they'll forget.
If you recall, there have been a lot of talks about how the private university churn out first class graduates, every year. And I mean, what's perturbing for me, Shegun, is the fact that the ASU president is aware. What have they done all these years, to probe into how these universities, churn out first class graduates? I attended a public university. I attended University of Benin, and over there I recall some of my lecturers would tell you that you have to work hard to earn your degrees, but we don't see that happening with the private universities.
Some professors will tell you first class is for God. You can't have it. You understand? But now, most of these private universities, they are not affiliated with us to ASU. You understand? So even whilst has to go on strike, they're in session. So,
which is another reason why a lot of parents are opting for that option. So in 3 to 4 years, no strike, nothing, and your child or your is out of the university. I mean, anyways, we just hope that all of this saga concerning our varsities and the fake foreign degrees would be probably looked into, and all stakeholders would get fair justice. And lastly, on the Daily Independent, it says PDP, Labour Party, NNPP are considering a merger for the 2027 election. That's according to NC Front. Shegun, is going to be a blockbuster coming in 2027.
You see, 2027 is going to be an interesting year, because from now people are patiently waiting. Look, the rate of poverty, inflation is extremely high, and people know that come 2027 they cannot make the same silly mistake they've been making all the while. Do you understand? Because now everybody is feeling it. No one, we are all feeling the hardship. So come 2027, I know that some politicians will still go around giving some people face caps and spaghetti, and some senseless Nigerians, let me use that word, just for me, I don't know, I use the word, senseless Nigerian will still collect one, not even pins,
Derika.
One Derika of rice, and go and vote, and then you suffer for another 4 years,
And sometimes 8 years.
Sometimes 8 years. Do you understand? So, but I know that come 2027, people they are wise. They are wise now. So,
all right.
we'll have nothing.
That'll be all for the Daily Independent.
All right. So, right about now, we will have to go on a short break, because we have so much to do. We still have to talk about the firearm licensing in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Would it be a good thing? Would it be a bad thing? Because I mean, so many people. Look, if you have your firearms registered and one agboro threatens you, you want to pull up. You understand? So, will life be threatened with this? All of this we'll be looking at when we return. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I appreciate you. Please do not anywhere, stay tuned, because we still have so much to talk about. Stay there. We'll be right back.
Second half. Mosley, will they retire from... Moses. Giro looking much more promising in the second half. Red Bull Musa!
Some school of thoughts believe the major challenges confronting Nigeria as a nation is caused by poor leadership. How true is this? You and I can actually put government into tools to deliver the dividends of democracy. Join us every Saturday by 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let us look at the issues confronting us as a nation together with talk heads. Nigeria can be great again. I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. Keep it date.
What up, guys? How's your day going? How are you doing this? I want to believe that you're having fun, right? This bright and sunny day. You know that once you see this duo on your TV screen, we're here to serve you some entertainment.
And of course, entertaining gist coupled with good music won't hurt anybody, right? So here on Super Lunch, we get to entertain you, educate you on recent happenings in the world of entertainment. I am your girl, Eva Grace.
And I am Shegun Denola Adeyemi, the Duke of your airwaves. You know how it is. We serve you good entertainment Mondays all through to Fridays. And that's how we do. We'll take you on a smooth ride of entertainment. So don't go nowhere. Join us every Mondays to Fridays. We love you guys.
There's no place for pretense. I can't watch you stand there. Oh no.
Ó ta lẹ́nu, ó pọ̀ lẹ́nu, ó dùn lẹ́nu. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, ó ta lẹ́nu, ó pọ̀ lẹ́nu, ó dùn lẹ́nu. Yusuf Mọ́rúnsọ́lá ni orúkọ ti tèmi Funky ọmọ ẹ̀lẹ̀ tó gbásìkì tó dùn tó kí tó yí gbogbo. Ẹ pàdé mi ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Thursday 8:30 to 9:30 àti gbogbo ọjọ́ Saturday 1 to 2 fún ètò tó ga jù. Ẹ má miss ẹ̀, ó ga jù lẹ́tò. Ẹ pàdé mi, ó ṣàprápra.
Lẹ́nu ó pọ̀ lẹ́nu ó dùn lẹ́nu. Come on, I cannot do.
Welcome to Naija Plus. Make you not touch that there, make your finger for no. Wetin be your plan for your country, and wetin you sef want make your country do for you? You need to give something before you take something. Na the only way matter fit balance. No be say fowl no plan to fly you, but the power no carry am. As matter dey shele for inside Naija, make you sef chook your mouth make we build our country. No be every time we go talk things bad. Comot for that corner before mosquito bite your tortoise. Oya, e get as e happen for your area and you want make plenty eyes see am, make you hear am, make you for reach authority. You get video of the scene? Send am sharp sharp. Before I forget, na top super screen we dey and my name na Mr. Peace, that MC with a biggie swag. Naija na for everybody. Make you not touch that dial, make your finger for now.
Reach for the sky, ladies and gentlemen!
Demand attitude.
I am Salahuddin.
Demand excitement. Demand action.
Alright guys, welcome back. We'll be going into the discussion segment this morning, and it will be quite an interesting one. Looking at the state of insecurity in Nigeria currently, and we would like to talk about the use of firearm licensing in Nigeria, and the pros and the cons. What are the pros and the cons of the use of firearms in Nigeria today? And joining us this morning would be a security expert who will be throwing more light on this topic. And no other person than Valentine. Valentine, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, good to see you and hear from you this morning. So this morning we'll be looking at the use of firearms in Nigeria and the licensing. What are the pros and what are the cons? In your robust expertise, what is your take on the use of firearm in Nigeria today?
Good morning and happy new month, happy new year. So, my take on the firearm licensing, before we go deeper on this, seriously, it's really a shame, and it's really unproductive, and it's not what we expected to hear from those who we give the sole responsibility to represent us, at the National Assembly, to come tell us this. It is not something we expect. However, there are two things there. Before we go deeper, he made mention of reasons why he's coming up with the bill, and as an expert, I would say it would have been more easier to make it look as if it's like driving license. I will go back to that. Firstly, the former CBN governor, if you could remember, when DSS raided his house, he was also found with firearmed, which is the single barrel shotgun. Now the question is, the issue of license, is it a noun thing or it has been in existence? That's the first thing we need to ask ourselves. Is it a noun thing that, okay, it's a bill they want to pass so that issue of firearms will be legalized, or it has been on board before, but they want to now make it more accessible? These are two things now. So I don't know if you're understanding me. So is it that there were no licensing before? If yes, there were not. But we have cases where even retired personnels have their firearms with them. So how did they get arms? Is it their service firearm or they went to get a licensed firearm? Questions. So for why I said it is unproductive to come out with this statement is because government totally is responsibility. That's the meaning of government. Aside, government is for the people, for people and all that. No, government is just responsibility. You take the responsibility of the city. And some of this responsibility, there are key factors as security, education, and health. Now, there's a breach in the security. Citizens die every day. Not one citizen, not two, not 10. They die every day. And now we have a representative in the chamber, red chamber, telling us that, pushing a bill that people should be armed. Now, it means to say the military, the police, the DSS, the NIA, and all security agencies are powerless and weak. If we want to go deep as an expert, they are weak to protect the citizens. So the best way is government has failed, citizens protect yourself. So that's why I use the word, it's a shame. So in my own part, before we go deep, as I said, is that government should just take two options. One option is that they should either resign, that's those in responsibilities given should either resign, or they take adequate measures by compensating every communities that suffers this attack. When I say responsibility, it is not just to say we condemn, because this has been the pain. That is why if you ask every citizen, do you want a gun? They will say yes, because when there's an attack, you hear people say, or rather you hear the government say the perpetrators will be brought to book. And for how long will this book keep piling the names of perpetrators not being brought to book? So it is something that if you allow the citizens, it will go out of hand. So it is not something we'll begin to talk about now, right? So the government should either play a role by compensating those community attacks, or they resigned. These are the two measures. Because saying we want to license firearms now is saying the responsibility given to the government is already broken. It's already broken. So I will now go back to why firearms licensing should not be a case study now. In the first place, I am ashamed of hearing this now because, politicians have this way of let us push a bill. There was a time where we had the issue of a social media bill. Come on. Do we even have database? That's the first. Do we have database that will, compile the list of citizens who have firearms licensed? Because if you are licensing a firearm to a citizen, it means you have a profile of that citizen, so that when there's a crime in that community that said citizen is residing, now the first thing you do as an expert is that you go to the community, you go visit the houses that have arms and registered, then you do what we call examination of firearm. If the actual commission of the crime, if not, then you now know how to how to now carry out your investigations. That's another one. Then two, do we even have forensic experts and ballistic experts on board? Do we have them? Do we have a forensic and ballistic lab? Do we have them? No. Do we have agency that controls small arms and light weapons? So when we talk about licensing first, it's good. See, the statement is good, but the statement is not right because good is optional. Right is a standard. That's the difference between good and right, in my own opinion. So good is optional, right? Right is a standard. So the government ought to come with a standard, not coming to tell the citizens that no. It should have been a low principle or a low bill, just like driving license. Obviously, driving license, if you buy a car, you'll be issued a license. So if you are coming out to say firearms licensing in Nigeria, the question is, then how do we even curb the illegal licensing or illegal firearms already in place? Two, were there no licensing before? If yes, then how come do we have ex-men or ex-servicemen, ex-servicemen having firearms in their house? Or how come do we have firearms in circulation, whether licensed or not? Because this is not we can't say there is no licensing body in Nigeria. There is, but the question, because it's there in our constitution and it's there in the Firearms Act. There's Firearms Act where the IG of police and the president can only issue certain firearms to citizens. So it's already there, is a package, it's there. But now we coming out there now to say, because we have experts who also have firearms, so we coming out to say bill. It means to see the way and manner people now should get the firearms should be more broadened than narrowing. So if you now say so, then the insecurity we are facing will be so much that even the government will suffer it, because people are dying, and it's funny, it's really funny. But however, just as I said, do we have database? And database has to do with criminal profiling. That's what we call criminal profiling. Do we have database that profile criminals and profile the citizens?
Watching there, Valentine, I've really heard everything you've said, and I think it makes a whole lot of sense. But I need to ask you first: are you in support or are you not? Are you in support of approving firearm license to people, or are you to the general public, to the citizens, or are you not in support? Which is
okay. Before I say yes or no, right now, when you look at the context of the statement and the content, he said that when this license is issued to citizens, it should be that the citizens meet some requirements. That's one. And that they should also undergo medical examinations, and also that the licensing will generate revenue. Now, your question is, should it be licensed to general citizens, everybody? The question is, how many people can afford?
So that's where I'm coming in from. I just want to know first if you're in support of it or you're not in support of it. Then we can now delve in to explain further. But are you in support of licensing permits to gunfire permits to the general public? Are you in support? Yes or no?
If it is the general public, no, I'm not in support.
Well, okay, please hold on that thought. So, viewers, you've been listening to Valentine Idewo, and then it's really been making some serious argument. And if you ask me, I think is correct, right? And then we're joined in the studio by Pat. Pat, welcome.
Thank you so very much. It's good to be on the U45 morning show. Hope you're having a great start to your morning. There's one question I'd like to ask. The right to self-defense is recognized in some international treaties, and that includes the right to own a gun. So, do you consider owning a gun a civic basic human right?
You see, I stated this. I said the bill is good. That was what I said, but it's not right, because right is optional good is optional, right is standard. The first thing now is Nigeria is a lawless country. Sorry to say, Nigeria is a lawless country, a country where things can just happen and no record. That's if we want to be honest. Nigeria is a country where things happen, no record. How many times we see a successful cases handled by police? To be honest, successful criminal cases. So when you talk about the international law, the human rights and all that, they have laws that back any defaulters, and they follow the law without fear nor favor. But in Nigeria, we do not follow the word fear nor favor. That's one thing. Then secondly, in Nigeria here, if you said you want to implement the law for licensing, self-defense is different, because in self-defense, it is proportional to what comes to you. If there is a firearm, but the question is, even the citizens that we are complaining to be empowered with firearms, that are clamoring to get these firearms, the security protecting them are also victims. So if security can undergo series of training to protect, but yet they are being killed by these terrorists, then who are the citizens to even protect themselves in the first place, where they don't even have this adequate training? The use of firearms is not just to pick a gun and shoot. No, there are creed guiding the principle of firearms. That's one. Then secondly, when you look at the whole thing, that is why I said the government should do two things in consideration. One is they should take total responsibility by ensuring they compensate community people, not book. For how long will the book be filled with names? Two, or resign. Telling a citizen now that this is what you is telling it, but you do it. So comparing us and the international body is very, very wide, because the insecurity we have in Nigeria is narrowed to two forms. And I always say this: one, religion, and two, ethnicity. So when you look at these two factors, you will understand that government not yet come out to give a concrete stand that will ensure the citizens to know the consequence of any action. But in the international body, there are consequences of every actions laid out, and they followed it. And that is why when cases are even 40 years, 10 years, 20 years, they still revisit it and ensure that justice is served. But is that the case in Nigeria?
Let's narrow it down to the Nigerian crime. It is known that we have a culture of owning guns in Nigeria. That culture, don't you think it should be respected?
You see, when you talk about the culture of owning guns in Nigeria,
in the villages and all that, it's been owned for ages. Don't you think that right should be respected?
I think you just read my mind. I want to mention we have those who are hunters as professions, right? We have vigilante groups, right? Long time, not just now. Long time we have vigilante groups who use local weapons. We have the hunters who use local weapons, right? Now, that was why when the question came to me, like, am I in support, yes or no? Then I said I will only give so you know if I'm in support or not. But when the question was, should the general public be? I said no. Now this is it. If the bill was to say that let's create community policing, or let's empower community JTF, Joint Task Force, and empower them with firearms, is a different ball game altogether. Then the government will now pay incentives or some not really incentives or just not really salary, but just a motivation to those volunteers. That is a different ball game than saying the citizens should own a firearm. So now back to your question, bringing about as a culture. Yes, but when you look at that culture, you find out that these people are known in the community. Whoever owns a firearm or a rifle, were known. It's either they were known as hunters or they were known like this. So they are known. So if there's anything that happened, it's easy to trace that, okay, this is the person or that is the person.
Okay, there's another angle to this. A lot of people have this belief that when this firearms are legalized in Nigeria, the women will suffer. That means the female gender will suffer because a lot of men will want to use this to perpetrate injustice and, you know, cases of rape and molestation. What's your take on this?
First, we need to have a broad knowledge of when we say firearms licensing, right? We need to understand that when they want to issue a license, there are regulations, right? Regulations, and there are laws guiding it. You don't just because you own a firearm and you are a master or a lord. No, there are laws guiding it. But the question is, do law actually are effective in Nigeria? The question is question mark. Now, when you use that word, okay, women will suffer more. The truth is, firearms are not issued to anybody anyhow in the Western world. And I believe in Nigeria that will also be implemented. But the question I'm asking is, do we agency that regulate their expert? Ballistics are those experts who examine arms, so that if, for example, the man and his wife have issues and he just went and brought a gun and shoot his wife and he said it's self-defense, let me now amaze you that a ballistic expert will ascertain if that shot was actually on self-defense or was intentional. But we don't have experts in Nigeria where there will be a shootout and they'll just say it's just self-defense and you just agree. But an expert will go to check if actually there was an intention in the shooting, and that's the deep investigation that we'll talk about next time. But ballisticians always know and ascertain that this gun that was fired not under self-defense. It was fired under intention. So that is one. Secondly, do we have database that manage the list or total numbers of people who actually legally own these firearms? If we do, then the issue of women suffering will not come in, because there will be law guiding, and even those with the firearms will know their laws. Go to America, go to different countries, Western world, that own firearms. You will find out that the issue of gun violence, and I said this to in the program, that people were saying, yeah, if they legalize this, there will be more shootout, there will be more this. But the truth is, make your findings in the Western world that they have legal. The firearms were legalized. You agree with me that the cases of gun shootout are more in public spaces than in the neighborhood. Let me explain. The shootout cases of guns are in the schools are more than in the house or in the residence. Why? Because when you are licensing your firearms, there are jurisdictions. So there are more cases of shootout in the mall, because these criminals know that in the mall it's only few people who own firearms there, e.g. maybe like the security personnel there, or in the school maybe the security personnel there. But at home, every neighborhood have fire. The cases of gun shootout is in the residence. That's I'm just giving an illustration about the Western world, right? But in Nigeria, so if really we want to say the firearms should be legalized, now measures put in place. If they are on board, you coming to attack a neighbor, you have to think twice. So, but all this should not come in place first. The issue is, are there measures to curb all this? If yes, fine. But two, it's also a shame that we have broad securities. Broad ones. We have the DSS, we have the NIA, the DSS maintaining the internal affair, the NIA external. Then we have the military, we have the police, we have the civil defense, and all this. Yet we have a bill to say the citizens should own a firearms. It's really shameful. And I keep saying, what is the function of the DSS and the NIA compared to how much we hear of the FBI and the CIA in Nigeria of US than we hear of our DSS in Nigeria? Is it that their own core value is just to follow politicians? I'm very critical about what I'm saying. Now, the thing is, if the DSS follow up their core functions, names of perpetrators will be easily, brought out. Because in cases of, I remember during Abacha time and other military head, I remember when DSS will act as mad people in a community. I remember when DSS will live in a community you will never know for years just to get intels. But in this case, we don't have them. We don't have DSS dressed like mad people just to be in a community to get intels. We don't have DSS go to prison as inmates just to get intels, because even in the prison, there are intels. You go there and serve as an inmate. The government will know you are not an inmate, but they will think you are an inmate to flow to get information. But we don't have them. It's painful that every crisis you hear in Nigeria is like a trend. It happens that same place, the next year, that same place, and you hear government keep saying that we will bring the perpetrators to book. Is it because it is not paying them, or they are not paying dearly for all this crime, all these atrocities being committed, that citizens are dying every day, dearly in the sense that government are not paying compensations? Other than saying the perpetrators will come, will be brought to book. Compensation in the sense that this community should be well taken care of until they can stand on their own.
Valentine.
Not just NGOs.
All right, a robust contribution, I must say. But I'd like us to delve a little bit on this topic. First of all, can you educate the public, because you mentioned the hunters and the military retirees and all of that. Can you expatiate on the categories of firearms, the types of firearms that we have, and then also can we talk about look at other aspects of the disadvantage of the use of firearms? You have talked about some, but how about with the current situation we have in Nigeria? A lot of people are going mad, a lot of people are going gaga. The psychiatric wards are full. You used the example of what's happening in the Western world, how shootings are more, and gunfire are not really in the public spaces and all of that. How about those that want to commit, instead of homicide, committing suicide? Nigerians are going through difficult times this moment, and it might be tempting for many of them to take their lives. They have made the prices of sniper, which is a very good insecticide, quite expensive. So if they are armed with firearms, don't you think a lot of Nigerians would want to take their own lives with the current situation we have in the country?
That's a very good question, and I will just start by firstly the vigilante part of it. In Philippines, that's in Asia specifically, there's what they call barangay. The barangay or the barangay are community policing, right? Now, this community have access to firearms, but locally. And when we talk about firearms, and you ask of type of firearms, there are firearms by grade. There are firearms approved by the government for citizens to use. And there are firearms only the government can use, because firearms are in classes. If in the Firearms Act, they are type A, type B, they are classes. And there are firearms that we call single barrel shotgun. We have that are called double barrel shotgun, right? Then we have revolver. We have pistol. Now, all these are types, and these kind of firearms cannot fight the government, because the government have what we call the AA, the anti-aircraft. We have the government who have the M16, M4A1, and a series type of powered firearms, right? Now, those power firearms are because of the range. You can be in one distance and fire to a large long distance. But those ones approved for the citizens to use are close range firearms. So if you look at those things, these are different also. So you can't issue firearms that will be equivalent to what they will use to fight the government. That's one thing. That's what they do even in Western world. They don't issue firearms that is proportional to what they use, so that when citizens get mad and hungry, they can't use it to fight the government unless and except they are terrorists. That's one. Then when I'm intentional for saying terrorists, because terrorists have their way and means of getting their own firearms, which could be proportional to the government. Now, but we are talking about citizens to government now, legally. Now, there are firearms also that the government can allow the citizen, which is the air gun. The air gun mostly are those types the hunters use. So when you look at those range of firearms, you can't compare them with the high-powered firearms the military or the police use. So these are two comparisons. So, but the question is, how come do the terrorists or the bandits get access to some of these powered firearms? That is why I say, do we have ballistics experts who will ascertain that these firearms are from so and so people or so and so agency, and these firearms are issued by so country. Now, when you now streamline all those statements and findings and examination, you now know, oh, if these firearms are made by this country and they use these firearms by this agency, then it means this agency are the ones supplying firearms to the bandit. This agency are the ones supplying firearms to the bandit. So if all these come together to give their examinations, you will now find out that it will be easier for the government to know how these people get their fire. Is it through importation or within the country? Then secondly, you may mention of suicide. Yes, you are right. The economic factor, the economic stage we find ourselves in Nigeria is so, it's painful. It's painful. So it's also because even in the Western world, we have cases of suicide where someone will just wake up, kill his family, kill his neighbors, and kill himself. It's happening in the Western world where they even have more stable economy than we here in Nigeria. So not to talk of now licensing that access to Nigerian citizens. So it is very affirmative that suicide may be rampant because people will be tense to commit suicide either by different means, right? Then another part you may mention is the retired service only. Now, in that barangay matter I was talking about, these people are under the local government chairman. The question is, in Nigeria, we don't hold people responsible. We don't hold people responsible. If we hold people responsible, what is the function of the local government chairman of every local government? What is the function of the police commissioner of every state? What is the function of the king of every state where things are happening? If we hold people accountable, they will sit up. For example, there is no way a community clash will happen. The king or the man will not have an idea to say, I will stop, I will do, I will that. At least at most, when you put a beam or you put a pressure on your youth, because youth are the factors of all these things. When you put a pressure and said, henceforth, if my community youth engage in certain crisis or in so and so, this is what will happen. Everybody know, everybody hear, and everybody see. Then there will be a caution there. But when you are quiet and you are assuming you are not having the capacity to do something, then why are you there? Two, if they are held responsible, they will sit up. Because in a community where attacks always come out from, if you say, okay, henceforth, if community A and community B have a clash, the head of those communities will be held accountable. I bet us that this head will ensure that they have local community policing that will help safeguard these communities. They themselves will sit up come up with a strategy, because they will know that they will be held accountable of what they do not know about, but because they are leaders of that community. Because that's what leadership is, responsibility. You don't just sit down and be calling yourself a chairman or this. No, responsibility, and responsibility is safeguarding the people you are leading. So if these people are held accountable, I tell us, all these things will be stopped. Then the issue of the license, I've been saying that this issue should not come up now, because the first question is it that this bill is just a fresh bill that they want the citizens to have access to firearm, or in that case, is it that there were no licensing bill before? There was, because a lot of citizens, few of it have. And if you look at the statement the senator made, he said something that I feel this bill should not even be a talk of the day. Why? If you look at the whole thing in a summary of this statement, is that the poor people will not even have access to these firearms, and they are the who will not even have access to these firearms because they are suffering. Because if you look at his statement, he says that at the end, when you go through the doctor examination, you go through payment of licensing and all that, and all involve money. How much is even a gun? That's one thing. These people that are even struggling to find what to eat, and you are telling them now to go license a weapon or to go buy a weapon, not to talk of even licensing it. It's not something the government should be talking about, but rather providing a sustainable solution, providing a sustainable income, and make the economy stable for them is what the government should be talking about, not to tell them to go, because at the end of it, the rich will now be the one to own these firearms. And when they own these firearms, there will be more thuggery. Because who pay the thugs? Poor people don't pay thugs. So if we go deep as an expert, you wonder it will favor the rich more than the poor who suffers this insecurity. So it's not a talk of it's not something that we recommend. It's not something we recommend. It's really a shameful thought to come up with this kind of bill.
All right, Valentine, I'd like to come in here quickly. Now, a lot of there have been mixed feelings amongst Nigerians, the citizens, when this news broke out into the public. Now, I would like you, in your own opinion as an expert, what would you advise the government, looking at the rate of insecurity currently in the nation? What would you be saying? You have come to condemn the bill. You are saying it is good, but it is not right. So, in your own opinion, what would you be advising the government looking at the current situation of the use of firearm licensing?
Okay, firstly, before my advice, I will advise the government that anytime they want to hold a security council meeting or security meeting, they should ensure that experts are involved. Experts like one, forensic experts, environmentalists, computer scientists, right? Then they should ensure that ballistic experts also are involved and other experts. Why am I saying this? Security is broad. Most of these security officers don't have security knowledge background. They emerge by chance. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. I studied criminology as a BS. Then I further studied forensics. So I have a deeper background. But most of these our security agencies, go make your research. They are either business admin graduate, accountant graduate, geography graduate, or other courses that are not security inclined knowledge. So they emerge by chance or through masters. Now, when they come back to the basic, these people will help them guide their decisions and have a conclusion to make. Because when decisions are made by non-experts, what do you expect? It's the same thing we are saying. Because for how long should we continue to witness this same thing over and over since 2009? For how long? For how long? I keep saying it. How many are these bandits? How many are these Boko Haram or terrorists compared to the total number of the security agency we have? How many? You can't fight the government. That you should know. We can't fight nobody can fight the government because the government have large resources than an entity. That is one thing. So, two, if this is put in place, that expert comes in that decision table to guide those decisions, then a sustainable outcome, because the key word is sustainable, a sustainable outcome will emerge. Then also, do we have labs where this expert can carry out certain examinations? Because there is this principle I want to state. Edmond Lucard, he said the perpetrator of a crime will bring something to the crime scene and will leave with something from it. And in quote, it says, for every contact, leave a trace. It means to say, for every crime committed, there's always a trace to the perpetrator. But how come are we not getting these perpetrators? Because it's a principle that for every contact or every crime, always leave a trace. Is it a crime of robbery? There's a trace that will lead you to the perpetrator. Is it a crime of attack? There's a trace, because every criminal element have their sign. When an attack happens, it's easier for an expert to say, okay, this is who committed the crime, because of they have their trend, they have their modus operandi, they have the way and manner they execute their missions. So that's why experts, even in the Western world, when an attack is committed, they will tell you, okay, it's Al-Qaeda, it is because of a trend, because of their own mark, their own modus operandi. Do we have experts? That's another thing. Then other advice I would advise the government is that the DSS particularly, I'm more particular about the DSS. They should do their work well. The government should hold them very well to do their work. Why? If you look at the functions and the sole responsibility of the DSS, you understand why I'm emphasizing on the DSS. They are to give the president information, security interest regarding the state. So if they are doing their job well, gathering intel, it will help the police do their own job well. Then the NIA, because there's what we call organized crime. Now you have to ascertain, is this crime that we are facing an organized crime? If yes, then you know how to come in with NIA. If this crime we are facing, is it an internal crime? Then you know how to use the DSS. So we have to understand this crime so that experts will play a role. Because if you are fighting a crime that is organized, and organized crime that has branches or wings outside, you can't win it. If you're focusing on in the internal matter, you can't win it. But if the internal, and you know, and you're facing it internally, you will win it. So you need to even know the crime. You need to know whether it's an organized crime or not. So all these things the government should be aware of. So because one thing is, I keep saying it, you can't fight what you don't know. You can't win an enemy that you don't know. Because until you know the enemy, and knowing the person or the enemy is that you have to know who is funding them, who is supplying their armory, who is their capacity, their manpower, everything embedded in knowing these people. If you know them, winning them is easy. So the government have a
robust contribution from you, Valentine Idewo. We want to thank you for your contribution today on this topic. You have spoken well, all of your suggestions, and we hope that the stakeholders in
I want to add something, please.
To do the needful. I must say we will be drawing the curtain today on this topic. Many thanks, Valentine, for your contribution, and viewers, we like to say thank you for your patience, and we hope you have learned a thing or two. And now we will be continuing with the program as we go on a short break, and when we'll be back, it will be time for hashtags and trends, and then sports. Join us again. All right, guys, welcome back from the break. It's still the U45 morning show. We just finished an elaborate session with security expert Valentine Edel. We talked about the use of firearm, the licensing, and all of the pros and cons. And right about now, we'll be going to hashtags and trends. What is trending out there? And Shegun, what's up? What's trending?
Well, a lot is happening out there, and then the one that caught the attention of so many people over the weekend is that of Deborah Lovett, the woman that said she wakes up 4:30, 4:50 because of her husband. Okay, so this woman is a pregnant woman, right? And then she said what she's usually busy to wake up in the morning to prepare lunch for her husband to take to work. And then she said one day, this fateful day, the husband came back from work. You know how couples talk, and it's like his colleague brought food to the office and brought 2 spoons, one for her, one for him, and they were eating together. The following morning, 4:30 a.m., she woke up like, no, you cannot prepare food and have my husband
eat with you.
So that means you thought of while you were preparing, you were thinking of my husband. So, and then you now brought 2 spoons for yourself and my husband. She was like, no, she's not going to have it. So she decided to wake up early, and she's pregnant. She's a pregnant woman, and she does not have any job she does for now. And then, so when she uploaded this, she told her story to one guy, and the guy was like, okay, no problem, you know what do you want? And she said she needed a bedside fridge, which would cost about, I think, 85,000 naira. And then someone else said, something bigger. She said something bigger would be like 180. Where would she get it from? So the guy she was chatting with was like, you know what, don't worry, just drop your account number, let's see what happens. So they started dropping money. Okay, so this is the tweet here. I've always been lazy to wake up and get his lunch ready, but the day he told me a colleague brought 2 spoons so we'll eat with her was the day I set my alarm for 4:50 a.m.
Now, Shegun, I saw the story when it was trending, and unfortunately, the feminists took over the streets because a lot of women, especially young women, came to condemn this woman, and saying that no man is worth taking your sleep away from you, especially when you are pregnant, you know. And the story started trending, you know, and of course it became the male folks versus the female folks.
Yes, because the male too came up to like, okay, so there was one guy that said he has to move from where he lives to where the wife lives. So he lives in the urban setting, the wife lives more away, not rural,
okay,
but more away. But because she had a business going on for her, and she was almost at the breakthrough point, and he wouldn't want her to leave everything, pack up everything and come to him. And he's doing pretty well for himself. So he said what he did was move away from there to our own neighborhood, and then rented an apartment. And so he has to leave the home 4:30 a.m. very early.
Because it was a bit farther for
the thing about marriage, it's a 50-50 thing. It's 50-50 love. I mean, I am going this way and my spouse says it's going to be a breakthrough for the family. He supports. And I, as a wife, I see that my husband is making a breakthrough somewhere and I can bend over to make sure he succeeds. I do it. And those ladies coming out and doing this feminist thing, please wake up. We are Africans.
Pat, you took that from me, because this story shouldn't be trending if we have our marriage values right. I mean, what does it take for you to make that sacrifice in your marriage? A lot of men put in this hard work too. A lot of women are working their asses out. It just shows you the type of generation we're in currently, where love and marriage has become transactional.
What happened was not really the feminist angle to it.
Okay.
It's just how do I put it? Having compassion, right? Because the guy that said, it was a young man that started it. Like, you know what? Send me your details.
No, Shego, before it got to that point, you get the story had trended before the young man saw it. The people that blew the story, it was from the angle of condemnation. That how can you take a pregnant woman through this type of stress as a married man?
The man did
That was
not
where the
take
angle- that
her
was it.
through this process. She is a virtuous woman. And in the Bible, the virtuous woman was described as a woman that wakes up very early in the morning, makes sure food is ready for her family, clothes her family with wool, make sure they are warm and all that. So she's doing her part as a woman. That's the reason why we have a lot of broken homes now, because this Gen Z age don't want to sit up and realize that we as women need to take care of our homes.
All right, moving on.
The good news is that
we
she got
we can't
the
dwell too much. So
commendation.
she was pregnant with no job.
Yes.
But then under within 24 hours,
In a short time,
she
yeah.
got $1 million plus, $1 million plus. The aim was just so the guy said, "I'll send you a token," and then when she saw it, she was like, "Token? This is not a token. No, this is much." And then other people started sending in money, and she made over $1 million plus
Wow.
for the first 24 hours. And then she said, "That's not enough." And he just gave me a job offer, virtual assistant. So remote work, she can work from
home and take care of her family.
So 50K at the end of the month.
Beautiful.
You get. So many people came through for her, and then they now wanted to make it political.
Really?
Someone said, "I never knew the obedient get this broke." And then, I mean, and the guy that started the donation said, "Look, I saw it and I knew she was obedient and partified."
Wow.
It has nothing to do.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with politics.
Politics.
Politics is out of this now. Let's segregate as human. I'm partified, she's obedient, but she needs help. Do you understand? So he helped her and everybody came and were like, okay, this is good. I mean, two problems about Nigeria. If it can be sorted, Nigeria will be good. Politics and religion. Those two things, if it's
I
sorted,
agree with you,
will
I agree with
be
you.
good.
Absolutely.
Alright, moving on. This one is a very sad story. Now, there's this thing that is become a thing in Sierra Leone, where they go to burial ground and then they dig up the grave and then pick skeletons. Now they take the bone and break it. Now, what they find in the bone,
The marrow.
yeah, you know, it's dead now, so it's decayed. Now, that is what they now decide to add to one or two leaves and decide to smoke to get high.
They go that far?
Yeah. So there was a documentary that they did in Sierra Leone, and the guy was taking them around the graveyards, and so many graves were
Vandalized.
destroyed because they want to get out the skeleton. I mean, and they said it turns them to zombie. Most of them.
Why would somebody want to become a zombie? Why would you want to become a living dead?
Guys, this is what we're talking about, addictions. These guys are probably addicted to smoking, and they've gone beyond cigarettes and marijuana and the Indian, you know, they want
Gone
to
beyond the colors.
Yeah, they've gone beyond colors, you know, and that's how this thing works. There's a documentary also that I watched, a short clip of how a character, a cartoon character, they are trying to depict the impact of drug abuse on humans. And this cartoon character probably saw what's it called now? A substance, and just looked around it and walked past. And the second time he saw it, looked around it and sniffed it, and got excited and flew so high. It was a great feeling, and he started looking for more. Now, the more he was taking, the more substances he was taking, the more he was deteriorating. He was getting darker. Life was leaving him. He was drained until he slowly died. And when I saw the comments on that documentary, a lot of people who have been addicted in the past or are currently battling addiction came out to say, this is me in 3 minutes. This is my life, this is my brother, this is my loved one, you know, what they are currently experiencing. And that's the damage that drug can do to humans. It's quite a sad one for me, going that far to dig up graves just to get high.
Well, this is Sierra Leone. The one that is happening in Borno is fermented urine and lizard dung. I mean, how do you drink fermented urine? Anyway, that's another story for another day. Now, NBC says you cannot talk about the happenings in the States. So this just killing, you can't talk about it. Nobody's allowed to talk about it.
This is out of place as far as I'm concerned. The embassy, with all due respect, are not doing the job, because the position of journalists and news media is to get the people aware of the happenings around them. Now, if there's a bandit attack and there's insurgency and all that, and journalists can't do the job, why are we journalists, and why is the embassy here? There are things you're supposed to control. There are bad movies, bad musicals floating in the air, and there's no control on that. Are you saying journalists can't report what is happening? This is a no-no.
My question is, what happens to the Information Act? You see something, you say something. So what you're telling us is that act is no longer relevant. Meaning, if you see something, you cannot say something. That's what they're saying.
If you guys recall, when the president came in, he had said that there will be freedom of the press.
Of the press, yes.
Now it seems like NBC, are pressing the pressmen.
Oh, he that pays the pipers dictate the tune. They've already told them what to do. The embassy is not just coming on their own to make this announcement.
Well, this is not the first time we've seen the NBC clamp down on people on TV stations.
But this is very wrong. Peradventure, someone wants to go to Plateau State and there's an insurgent or there are attacks. This person's life is at risk. But if the person is informed that there's something going on, there's violence, there are attacks, the person will protect himself. So information is key in this situation. This is a no-no.
All right, information is key. I just hope that the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission will have a second thought before passing out any punishment on whoever defaults. This is as much as we can take on hashtag and trends. So we'll go on a short break, and when we return, it will be time for sports. Guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Alright guys, welcome back from the break, and quickly we'll be going to our sports segment, and joining us is the one and only, sporting Joel. You're looking dapper this morning, Joel.
Oh well, I mean, looking good is good business. It's Monday. You guys don't look bad yourself. What happened? You guys planned out, all looking like a band.
He sent me the roster for the week. I decided to go with it.
Anyway, it's beautiful to be here. Good morning, viewers. You're welcome to Sport Train on U45. Actually, 5 days to the much-awaited AFCON 2023, and a lot of teams are playing friendly games. And the first game that took place yesterday was Algeria. They had a good one against Togo, 3-0. And Mali, it was 6-2 against Guinea-Bissau. Good to know Guinea-Bissau is in the group of Nigeria, taking Guinea-Bissau on the 14th of January. Does this mean we might still, end up getting victory in that game? Time will tell. DR Congo 0-0 against Angola, and Burkina Faso lost to Iran 2-1, and Tunisia it was 0-0 against Mauritania. Now, good to know that the Super Eagles had a game also. It was 12-0 against the UAE club, and it was the turn of the Super Eagles. Ademola Lookman had 4 goals in that game. Osima was on the score sheet. He had a brace, and good to know Ahmed Musa, the oldest man, the team got a goal. Moses Simon, and 12-0 against a team in UAE. A lot of people believe they are not a team to be reckoned, but 12-0, not a bad one for the Super Eagles.
Yeah, looks like a basketball scoreline, if I must say. But I think, they are right. It's not the team is not what we can use to rate.
Yeah.
However, it will be a good moral booster for the boys. They can come all out and start blazing. Good one for me.
Yeah, good one.
Keep the momentum, play more friendly, and then get the team.
If you ask me, I'll say it's a bad move. I mean, when you play against a team,
low-rated team,
and you score 12 goals. Now, when you go into the competitions, you feel all pumped up, feel okay, no problem. Then we now go against
the big guns.
Yes, then all your lapses. So why not go in your friendlies? Why not play against a top footballing country or nation, and then let them even defeat you? So you see
errors you made,
yes, your lapses, and then by the time you're going into the Nations Cup, you're well prepared. Countries like Brazil, countries like Portugal, these guys going into the Nations Cup or World Cup, they play a high-rated nation to see
friendlies.
You understand? So that
this is just a tune-up game, just to
it's not really an international friendly.
But our Nations Cup is in 5 days.
5 days, yeah.
So they should have played a high rate.
No, I mean, come on, what if a player gets in?
Exactly, that's another thing.
No. That's why you're not supposed to
throw in your weight.
Throw in so much weight.
And then you get beaten and your morale is down going into the competition. I disagree with you.
For me, that is working on the psychology of the players. Look, if you know that they just lost the match,
so now they're feeling all fly because they won 12-0. Get into the.
I just hope it's not getting to their head. That will now go there and lose their first match.
Yeah, we hope so.
Anyway, over time, a lot of people believe when you take an old player to a tournament like the Cup of Nations or the World Cup, you don't get good results. But we've seen Rujamila was part of the World Cup squad in 1994 and actually scored a goal against Greece. He was 44.
He was
actually the oldest man to be in that World Cup. Now, we have Ahmed Musa that is now up to 30. I think it's 29. A lot of people are complaining, but he got a goal in the friendly game yesterday. What does that tell you?
You see, I have always advocated that Musa should be part of the team, and for me it's not just about his performance. For me it was about his leadership quality. If you look at the team, we don't have any leader in that team. The boys are almost on the same level, almost all of them performing at the same level, for club and country. So we need a guy that can come to the team and say, hey guys, drop your phones, let's go to bed. Hey guys, the team needs a leader, and I think Ahmed Musa is perfect.
Now, my problem.
Do you think Ahmed Musa will instill discipline, the players and all that?
There is one player that they all respect. There was an interview that Osimhen was
on the radio.
Yeah, that was saying, look, Ahmed Musa is like a senior brother to all of us.
That's
anybody you ask, because aside the coach, he calls individuals. It doesn't call you as a team.
So he has relationships with them.
Exactly. Each one of them. So they all listen to him and he takes charge. Now my problem with Nigerian player is at the age of 30 you're retiring. At the age of 29, at the age of 31.
Well, Shego, that may not be far-fetched because for some of them, they're probably using football age. That may not be their age. These guys, some of them might be close to 40 or in their 40s already. If a Nigerian footballer tells you that he or she is in their 30s, just know that they're in their 40s.
The great Rivaldo retired at the age of 44. Actually, him and his son happened to sign the same club in Brazil. So, what is wrong with that? Anyway, moving ahead, something really fantastic just happened just last week, and it was made known by the Minister of Sports somewhere in Cross River in the Thanksgiving service. He said the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu just wrote up the bill of sports debts, 12 billion naira, which is remarkable, a good one. All the national team coaches, passed, pile up of bills, unpaid salaries and all that. So he wrote up those bills amounting to 12 billion naira.
If you ask me, I'll say this current administration is trying, but then the corruption in the fabric of the nation is that's what's affecting us. The man is trying and is looking into almost every ministry. Okay. If you look at aviation, it's gone there to do reshuffling. Now humanitarian, it's gone there. Now sports, and it says if you win the trophy, 32 million naira for you. So I mean, that is something that will boost the morals of the players, and they will want to give it their best. So them hearing of this news that 12 billion has been I mean, they will go there to play with their heart.
But the problem is this money going to get to the right channel? I mean, to those people that deserve it, like the players, the ladies and all that.
The president is probing everybody.
Okay.
So I have a feeling that these monies will get to the right people.
Hopefully.
The president will probe it.
Now, lastly, Anthony Joshua believes Alexander Usyk has what it takes to knock out Fury come February 17 in Saudi Arabia. It's a big one, a big fight, much awaited big fight between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. But Joshua says he's going to be on the ringside, believing that Usyk will grace the day.
But then Joshua should have discussed about his own match with Francis Ngannou.
Yeah,
it's not been confirmed. It's just speculation. It's not confirmed.
It's not speculations any longer. That is going to happen. But
what do you think? Usyk Fury?
Well, it's a big fight, and I think I'll go with Fury.
Fury. Even Mike Tyson says Fury. So I mean, Fury is good. It's that good.
Anyway, I'm not in a position to judge that. Come February 17, we'll find that. That's what we can take for sport. But join us later today, 3 p.m. for Sports Hub. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. That's how much we can take for the show this morning, the U45 morning show on the 8th of January. Thank you for joining us this morning. I am Osage Solomon Wilfred.
And I am Shegun Denola Adeyemi.
And I'm Joel Mwakego.
And from all of us, it is a goodbye.